Positive Image TV. I have my friends, Yakisha Means, Billy Shiver with me today. And today, what are we going to be talking about on today?
I'll tell you what's real popular right now, Val, is domestic violence in sports.
Oh, yes.
It's a big thing going on, and my biggest thing that concerns me the most about it is, let's talk about the root of the problem.
That's right.
They didn't just wait till they got in sports to start this domestic violence. It had to develop from somewhere. Wouldn't you agree, Yakisha?
Absolutely. I think we need to just cover domestic violence, period, because it's not only in sports, it's in churches, it's in schools, it's in households. It was in my household. We all know that I grew up in domestic violence with my parents. And so I think we need to cover it as a whole. And, you know, we can start at the root of the problem, which I believe is how people are raised, what they view as their foundation of relationships. Because when I was growing up, you know, as a child, I viewed relationships as, in order for a man to love a woman, then they needed to treat her a certain kind of way. Which was, for me, physically aggressive, hitting, cursing, talking down to them, and that's what I grew up with. So these men, these women who are being the batterers, what were they born? You know, like, what was their childhood like? What was their first view of relationships like?
So, Yakisha, is it fair to say that the children become a product of their environment?
I would say so.
Okay.
And that's true too, but now you have the NFL players that are getting big raps about domestic violence, that are getting suspended from playing games and getting a lot of females that are being abused by NFL players, basketball players, college basketball players. So where's that stemming from?
So Val, could I ask you this question? Is that the solution to the problem? By suspending them? By
Absolutely
cutting their pay?
not.
You know, let's be real with this thing now. I mean, because if you cut the pay, that still doesn't cure you of domestic violence.
Absolutely not. And I think nobody's really dealing with the root of what's supposed to be happening. Because if you really look at it, if you suspend them for 2 games or 3 games and they go back into the NFL realm, and probably 6 months later they end up in the same situation because they never really dealt with how did I get myself in this situation from the beginning. So getting to the root of the problem, which I really think they should deal with, is why am I feeling that I have to put my hand on a woman? Or why do I feel like I have to get the woman's attention by forcing myself on them? So the root of the problem, nobody is wanting to deal with it. And that comes from the money realm. Everybody's all about the money, you know, ladies, show me the money. Or nobody want to actually say, well, I'm the bad person. This is just something that happened. But it stems back from, like you said, Keisha, that from home, you watch this going on in your household. And when you watch this stuff, you become a product of your environment, just like you said, Billy. And we grow up, get out, and we end up repeating the same cycle over and over again. And I did the same thing. I watched all of this growing up and end up repeating the cycle until I started dealing with myself. What caused me to attract the men in my life that will abuse me, that will hit me? But just like Akisha said, I thought that was love. So it's a whole nother level when it comes to dealing with self.
And I think on that point, the women, they need some assistance as well as counseling, as well as the husbands. And I think the NFL, you know, management, they also need some kind of education on what domestic violence really is. Because I think today, the Patriots quarterback, he got off with deflation of balls. They initially gave him a 4-day suspension, but when Ray Rice received a 2-day for knocking his then fiance unconscious. Okay, 2-day suspension for knocking your then fiance unconscious to 4 days for deflating a ball? How crazy is that? Deflating a ball has more value than a woman being physically assaulted. You see how messed up that is?
That's right.
So there is not any value on a woman's worth.
That's right.
So let me ask this: how long would you recommend someone in such a situation to be counseled? Being that you got experience in it, Yakisha, so do you, Val. I mean, what's for a man that have came to his senses, admit that he was wrong, trying to make his wrong right? What do he do? How do he go about seeking his therapy?
He needs to be with someone that is able to help him become aware of his values on relationships, and his values on women, and his value as a man. Because if he has those belief systems set up that a man should be able to treat his woman in kind of way, that power and control, that's not what a healthy relationship is. Yes, a man is supposed to bring order into a household, but not that type of order, not that physical fear type of order.
And another way too, actually being with a counselor that actually gets to the root of the problem, meaning going back to your childhood. What did you see your parents do growing up? Even if you had both parents in the home, or if you had only one parent in the home, or if you had either parents in the home, what did you see growing up? Did you see your mom getting beat up by other men? Or I'm not just talking about only men getting beat up, women getting beat up, but men are also being abused too. But
and
more
same
so,
sex as well, because we had 2 women in a WNBA also with the domestic. Well, actually, they wasn't even charged with domestic violence. They were actually charged with, I think, physical assault and battery.
Yes.
When actuality, same-sex couples should be charged with domestic violence charges as well, but they were not. So.
Yes.
And
So
the reason I asked the question about how long, because I can't help but think about if I was a pro player, God forbid it happened, my wife and I got into a confrontation, and if I knew that, okay, I can go to a 3-week class and I'm good, and so I guess my moral to my question is, are there any long-term commitments that this person that's been in domestic violence need to apply themselves to? Because like I said, I'm looking at it as, if you tell me, okay, I want you to go to this class, you ain't got to go 2 months, 3 months, or whatever the case is, and you back good.
right.
I don't see that being an ample amount of time to help you through the situation.
Right.
It may be a start. You may be able to put some stuff on the table, but if my mindset is stuck on, okay, I got to do this to get back to where I was, then I'm gonna just fly through this here and keep it moving.
Right. Good question. It doesn't really mean there has to be a time frame set. It depends on the person, and
because I think it's just like grief, there is no person that can put a set time on each individual's limit of grief. I may grieve for my loved one, 2 years. You may be able to do better with it in 1 year.
Right.
So that's just like domestic violence. Their therapy or their private coach or whomever they're seeking assistance from, if they can get through it and redefine themselves and become aware of what they're doing in their relationship and change it from toxic to healthy within a month, versus somebody else who has deep-rooted more issues taking 6, 12 months, then it's no time frame that you can actually put on it.
Right.
That's right.
And I can understand that, but another thing I thought about, even in this process, to me, just personally, I would feel like I'm under the almighty watched eye. As soon as our voice raise up with one another, what he gonna do? That would have me paranoid within my own household. It's no different than, I hate to flip it over, but it's no different than being in the house with a drug addict that's somewhere clean.
Right.
And when something go missing, he's gonna automatically feel like, oh Lord, they gonna put it on me. That's cool. Y'all feel me?
I understand. It's a day by right
Stay
there.
right,
That's
right,
right.
right,
You know, and you're just becoming more self-aware.
That's
Right.
right.
And you're gonna, trip over, and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all about you becoming aware.
Right.
And with time, it also you get to see that it comes together,
Right.
especially when you're working on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You begin to see that, wow, this is not happening like it used to happen anymore.
Right.
So at first you get, scared, like you said, oh, they think it's me.
Yeah,
Even though you've gotten past that.
Right, right.
But the process you went through to
Right.
where you've gotten past that, of course they're thinking it was you or whatever, but now it's like, wow, he doesn't do that anymore.
Right, right.
So it's the
Right.
process that you go through.
And I think Yakisha brought up a valid point too as well, that it's not always the upbringing. It could be the I'm the man mentality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And to me, I've seen people in that position where, it's my way or no way, I pay the bills, I do this, I do, all this,
Right.
I, and there's no we in the equation.
Right.
So to me, that, and the minute the significant other, whether it be man or woman, step up to do something different, then there's problems. So it to me, it just stems back. It is so many issues that we can look at, but finding the root of the problem is the key, and being able to be 100 with it. That's what I think the biggest thing. If I was the one that hit a woman, if I'm not at the stage, if I come to you and say, well, Val, only reason I hit her because she went out and stayed out too long. Now I'm making up an excuse for me trying to justify my wrongdoing.
Right.
No different than that woman saying, well, the reason I jumped on him or scratched him up was because he went out and stayed out all night.
Right.
We got to be able to be 100 with the situation, and to me, that's where healing comes.
That's right.
Well, people have to be able to manage through anger.
Yes.
Period, point blank.
Right, right.
People have
I
to
like
be
that.
able to
I like
maintain,
Yeah.
in a healthy relationship,
Mm-hmm.
when the other person does something they view as disrespectful, disloyal,
Right, right. Right.
and not result to physical and verbal and sexual violence. Period, point blank. This is about not bringing toxic stuff into the relationship.
That's right.
Right.
And that's why every marriage couple or every relationship person, they need to go through some type of relationship counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's baggage that they're bringing into the relationship can be dumped down on the table.
That's right.
And picked through. All right, let's deal with this.
Yes,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
And when you have a man who is powerful, who is famous, has money,
Mm-hmm.
or a woman with all those things,
Mhm.
control.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a catalyst
Bottom line.
for control.
Yeah.
Coupled with all the stuff that's all over the table.
So is it fair to say that control stimulates violence?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, our time is up.
Oh man.
Yakisha, what's your final thoughts about today on this domestic violence?
I think each and every individual player in the NFL, the management staff, the wives, girlfriends, fiancés, they all need to go through like a mandatory weekly, I know the game schedule is hectic, but however, everybody needs that weekly or bi-weekly meeting time with their coach. And when I say coach, I'm talking about, it doesn't have to be like a licensed therapist, but somebody who has experience with gender issues, and that can help them decipher upon toxic relationships versus healthy relationships, and how to respond to different stressors, and how to look at, their possible control issues.
Okay.
I don't care if you the most well-paid player or the most popular player. There's no getting out of meeting with your coach,
Right.
your life coach,
Right.
or success coach. I think they call it integrity coach or something.
Okay. What about you, Billy?
I think my biggest thing that I think we need to focus on, I'm really stuck on the root of the problem. And if you cannot get to the root, there need to be a constant follow-up.
Right.
Progress reports. And the other thing is that the individuals that's involved need to understand the importance of keeping this thing real, because you're not going to get past it faking to get to the next level.
That's right.
All the thing that's going to do is build up and cause you to go right back to where you started.
Right.
So to me, it's just like recovery of anything else. first of all, you got to be able to admit the fact that, you know what, I got a problem.
That's right.
I need some help. And then help can come to you. But if you're at the point, if I'm just doing this just to get by, then I'm not even fixing the situation.
Right.
So my thing is, and to TV world, please understand the importance of keeping it 100.
Yes.
That's right. And for me, I just said, just like piggyback off of Billy, getting to the root of the problem, that is so necessary. Identify that you even have a problem. Because a lot of us go through situation and realize think about it's everybody else's fault but mine. So please identify that if you're in a situation, domestic violence or control issues or whatever, try to understand, why are you in those situations? Why do you feel like you have to have a control issue? Why do you feel like you have to abuse to get the attention that you're getting from domestic violence? So to get to the root of the problem, identify that it's not somebody else's issue, it's your issue. Let's get to the root of it and move forward. Until the next time, we will see you back at PIC TV.
Hey, hey.
Peace out.